2 sips in.
Fishing, farting, golfing, or another G. Fishing or grilling. Every single one.
I'm Carrie Goolsby.
And I'm Patrick Smith.
And apparently we are talking about Father's Day.
No, it's funny because Father's Day is coming up, and I was at the store earlier in the card section, and every Father's Day card talks about many of them,
right.
It's about farts. It's like, that's all men do,
Or
is fart, apparently.
sleeping on the couch.
So it had to do with fishing, farting, grilling, or golfing. Because apparently that's all fathers do. So now I'm looking for a Father's Day card for my husband, and he does none of those things.
No.
He does.
He doesn't fart. He holds it in.
Oh no, he farts in his sleep.
He builds it all up.
And that one he does do, but he does it without knowing. He does it in his sleep.
No, you're right. Yeah. But did you go to a Hallmark store? Because
oh hell no! Do they even exist anymore?
I thought they did, but why do I know? I
No.
don't.
No,
I feel like they have every card under the sun that you could imagine.
They probably do, but
like happy first period.
Most greeting cards are just so not funny.
No,
I'm all about the funny cards.
Right.
So some people are about the sappy and
I
mushy
love
mush,
you so much,
and those just want me to puke. So
they
want me to puke.
They want you to.
So I'm all about more of the irreverent cards. Even with my grandchildren, even with my young grandchildren, I will usually, not out there like too off the wall, but I like to get something a little bit irreverent that they're not expecting. Because when I die, and I will, and
we all will,
and
that's not a question.
hopefully all my children and grandchildren will
be sad.
No, hopefully I will precede every one of them.
Right.
But I want them to tell the stories about grandpa's or dad's cards, because I don't send anything that's appropriate.
That's how you want to be remembered?
Sure, why not? Because it's
cards?
better. It's better than remembering me for something sappy. Just remember me for how irreverent I was more than anything else.
You're going to be remembered for being gay. Right?
Like you had two, why should I be remembered for being gay?
It's going to be, my grandfather while he was gay.
Yeah.
Well, then hopefully we advance enough to when your children or grandchildren are
I
old.
hope so. Yeah.
So I hope that's not actually what they say. But in my mind, you're going to be known for being gay. They had 2 grandfathers.
I think I'm going to be known more about being a lush.
Oh, good point. Do your grandkids know that?
That I'm a lush?
Yeah.
I don't think they don't not know that.
Who does not know
that? Please, I trained my children at the age of 17 to be bartenders.
The drink we're drinking, your son picked out for us.
And he's 15. So I'm working on another generation.
A new generation of minds being molded by this gay lush.
Yep.
I think that's what your tombstone.
I'm not going to be.
Your tombstone should just read gay lush.
It just seems redundant.
I know plenty rehabbed lush.
Right.
So, we'll see. Or would be gay rehabbed. Anyway, Father's Day is next weekend.
It is.
I know. Because I looked it up before we started. I lost my dad quite a while ago.
You're going to say you lost your virginity.
I did that a long time
virginity,
ago, too.
Dad's completely different.
Totally different in my book. I know not for everybody, but in my book it's very
unless,
different.
Of course, you lost your virginity to your dad, then this is a whole other story.
Yeah, that's a different podcast. We're not delving into that.
I think that podcast is from Missouri.
Well, I was thinking the other way, like people older now that are recovering from that trauma.
Yeah.
Because that's some trauma.
I'm sure it probably is.
I might have to cut all this out, but I made a horrible joke with my coworker.
God, I love horrible jokes.
Oh my gosh, because my...
Do tell.
So... this might all have to be
do not cut it out. I don't care
this
how
This might have to be cut out because it is so inappropriate for me.
I'll be the judge of that.
I understand how inappropriate this is.
Okay.
And I acknowledge that. She mentioned something about a scene in Lost Boys.
Okay.
Do you remember that with the Corys?
Yeah.
The Corey Feldman.
Corey, yeah.
Exactly. And I was talking to my coworker, who I know has I will leave it at this. She's had a very rough past.
Okay.
Like, she has come so far from where she started in life.
Nice.
That's all I'll say there.
Okay.
And I mentioned that she said something about Lost Boys. I said something like, "Oh yeah, with the Coreys, they were like BFFs except they were molested, and the one killed himself, and the other one's now on a rant about it."
Right.
And knowing her past, I just kind of looked at her and went, "Men just can't deal with that stuff like women. We've been dealing with it for years. They all kill themselves with it."
Yeah, it's kind of true. And
I know how inappropriate that is, but it's also like women have been dealing with grown men molesting them like crazy.
And still apparently dealing with it like it's running rampant apparently in our workplaces all across the country. I mean, for God's sakes, how many times do you hear about people like Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein or, it's
Donald Trump.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
And I understand it's also a part of the like toxic masculinity.
Right.
Like, it's not okay to be a man that was molested.
Right.
There's something wrong with you that you weren't able to
Right,
say.
exactly.
Like, it is a different total dynamic, but it's like, us women have been dealing with this since we've been born.
Yeah. No, I think there is some truth to that.
So that's inappropriate. Do you see what I'm saying?
I don't know that it is. I don't know that it's inappropriate. I mean, there's a little, I suppose in every inappropriate statement, there's a lot of truth. Mm. And
also, having said that, like, there has been times in my life where I was... things have happened to me, but never as a child and never with people I really knew.
Right.
So I've never had a family member molest me. I've had friends of friends try things with me and attempt things with me that not acceptable shit has happened to me.
Right.
But I've never had that happen as a child or with my family.
Well, that's because you grew up in Illinois and not Missouri. So.
Oh, I have them in my family. That's not what I'm saying. Oh. But... it didn't happen to me directly.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it didn't happen to me. So I did, do have a little one, and it was a one-off type thing with my cousin of mine. But it was pretty much consensual. So
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all experiment with cousins, don't we?
Why
Just
not?
Kidding. Most of my family were women. Like, everyone had daughters.
Right.
So no, I don't even have that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only one lesbian in the group.
Yeah, and we're not even from the South, for God's sakes.
I don't know if any of this topic is going to be acceptable for our lighthearted podcast, by the way.
I don't know either.
Like, shit got real.
It really did.
Shit got real fast.
But it happens every time. So every time we think, okay, let's talk about this today, because surely this is a lighthearted subject. We're just going to have a laugh a minute, and somehow we can turn.
We have to accept that we are not lighthearted people.
And we're supposed to be.
We are not lighthearted people.
While we laugh at other people's misfortune, I think that's being lighthearted.
At someone's cost, though.
That's okay, but we still laugh.
Oh, Lordy. I'm going to drink out of an empty glass. Like, wait.
Yeah, not the first time that's happened either.
No.
Not that I mean, you would have to know the backstory to know why that's significant. So this takes us back to one of our parties where we were drinking out of empty glasses. It's like, wait, they're empty. What happens here? We need refills.
Well, and this became our joke.
It did become our joke.
All I have to do is give Patrick a certain desperate face.
Yes.
And he knows that means my glass is empty. And
time for a refill.
Hustles his ass, bless his heart, hustles his ass to fill it.
Well, I don't want unhappy guests.
That's it. You don't want me unhappy. Girl's going to turn into a bitch soon. Get her some vodka. Hurry.
I just figure if you and I are staying on the same playing field at all times, then it doesn't matter because whatever the situation, we're probably going to be on the same page, and we're either going to be dishing shit or we're going to be flicking shit or yeah.
Either way, shit's always involved with us.
Shit's involved. Shit's going to happen.
Shit gets deep.
Shit happens.
It gets deep too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
anyway,
I digress.
I know, right? So we were going to talk about Father's Day and dads and stuff like that, and then it was like I lost my dad.
You said you've been many years without your dad. When did he pass away?
2007.
Ooh, that's been a long time. Yeah.
So it's been. I was in my I don't know time anymore.
I still remember.
Late 20s?
I still remember when your dad passed, and I thought, there's no way that was 2007. Yeah. That was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have guessed it was like 7 or 8 years ago.
Is that right? Because because it was right when my niece was a tiny baby when he passed. So it's kind of however old she is how long it's been.
No, I still remember.
Yeah.
And I absolutely cannot believe it's been 13 years. That is nuts.
Time flies, man.
Right? Yeah. And we're not having fun necessarily.
No, I don't know how much fun I've had in these 13 years.
Damn, yeah, that's pretty significant because it's only been 1 year since my dad passed.
Mm-hmm. And you're old as shit.
And I'm old as shit. And and I always wondered when I was younger, I knew the day was going to come where I would be without both of my parents. Right. I always wondered what that would be like. And
that's what's supposed to happen, right?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to die first.
Yeah, and my parents were, obviously, most of us can say this, and hopefully everybody can say they were very significant in my life. Right. But in a positive way. Yeah. And so not having them around there's just a feeling of emptiness, that there's something missing.
Well, it's that idea of what they're going to miss out on.
Yeah, maybe.
My dad never came to Oregon.
But for me, it's what I'm missing out on. I'm missing out on who they are. I mean, they were both such wonderful people.
I feel like this is another clip I get to, but it's about what I'm missing. It's about me.
It is. It's about what I'm missing out on because, I'm missing out on them and everything that they had to contribute to life and society because my dad was very much the same, very irreverent. He was all about shock value and
really?
Oh yeah.
But I know he was a military guy, so was he really conservative?
He was very conservative. However, he was also was very smart and could think for himself. So I mean, it's a shame that anymore that we have to, when somebody labels somebody as being conservative, we automatically think they're a dipshit. Yeah. So, yeah.
Is that being fiscally conservative?
He was fiscally conservative, but he was. Because he was more so that than he was morally conservative. Because I wouldn't say,
Because when did you come out? How did he react to that?
He was fine. He was perfectly fine. In fact, I thought that...
He knew.
I guess. I don't know. They both acted like, surprise. Because I think because I'd been married twice, I had 3 children, so they didn't see it coming. But I always thought my mom would be fine with it, no problem. My dad would probably struggle with it. And it was probably... It wasn't exactly the opposite, but my dad was just absolutely fine. Never even, My mom, however, for years afterwards was like, do you ever think you'll get married again? It's like, I have been with Mark now for, X number of years. And it's
and you're assuming because it was illegal at the time, married again meant another woman.
Oh, I know what she meant. Okay. Yeah, I know what she meant. So, yeah.
Interesting.
And it's not that she didn't accept Mark because she loved Mark, and she loved my ex too, but she just lived in a, kind of a state of denial, I think. Huh. So.
And you gave her grandbabies. Oh, yeah. I feel like that's a lot of the parents' thing. It's like, I'll never have grandchildren because you're gay.
How important really is that?
I have no fucking clue.
Hell cares?
Ask my mom because I ain't giving her any.
She already has them anyway.
She does have two from the other. You're right.
From the other. So now your dad. So what's probably some of your fondest memories of your dad?
So actually, my last memory of my dad was interesting.
This doesn't sound like it's gonna be fun. It sounds like it's gonna be sad.
Because my dad was in Arizona, right, and I'm out here in Oregon. So one year I decided that I was gonna surprise everyone for Christmas.
Right.
So I bought a ticket, and
Is this what killed him?
What's that?
Is this what killed him? The surprise?
Potentially.
Oh God.
He had a weak heart, man.
Oh damn it.
But I bought the ticket, planned to go out there, all that good stuff. Oddly enough, in my father's home, his pipes all burst.
Yeah.
So he had no water.
Oh geez.
So he ended up living with staying with my sister for a while.
Right.
Which my mom was also there. So my parents were divorced.
Right.
So now everyone's at Erica's house anyway. So perfect, right?
Right.
Like everyone's there.
Right.
My sister was so fucking stressed out.
Really?
That I had to tell her ahead of time, like, hey, Erica, I just want to let you know, I bought a ticket to come out to you on this day. I was going to surprise everyone, but I feel like one more thing would have tipped her over the edge. So, like, I want to give you a heads up because all this. So anyway, I just remember his reaction when Mom opened the door and he was kind of in the background and his reaction when I came in. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, that's really cute.
And that's my last. Then on Christmas Day, so again, this is over Christmas. On Christmas Day, my sister had a pool table in their family room. And at this point, he had a bad heart. He couldn't walk long distance. Like, he was really worn down. And I suck at pool. Yeah. But Dad wanted to play pool. Yeah. So I played pool with him for fucking hours. Because he would not stop.
Oh
Be like, gosh. Okay, rack him up. I'm like, motherfucker, okay, fine. Like I thought you were supposed to be half dead here. Come on, get tired already. No, I played with him all Christmas Day.
That's awesome.
Lost every single game because I suck at pool.
Right.
I totally suck. But finish a game, rack him up, Carrie. God damn it.
But now you do have that memory.
Yeah.
So
and that's why I did it too. Otherwise, I would have been a whiny kid and said, "No, I don't want to fucking play again. I'm tired. I lose all the time." But it's like, no, Dad normally isn't up and about this much. So if he wants to do it, let's do it.
Cool. No, that's awesome. I have, after my mom passed in 2013. So I had time with my dad for 6 years after that. And then, but more importantly, before she passed is when my dad and I spent a great amount of time together. So my mom was very ill for about 7 years before she passed, and she got progressively worse with the affliction that she had. And so I was taking about 4 trips a year down to California, and it was just me and my dad at the house, and we'd go over to the facility to see my mom and after she got admitted. But I will tell you, the closest my dad and I ever got were during those years that my mom was sick, and it was just he and I, and he was a great storyteller. I mean, the guy had a very colorful life, and he was very good at telling stories, and I would hang on every word because it's like, I've always thought my maternal grandfather was like that too. He could tell a story, and he could probably tell it like a 30-minute story that anybody else could tell in 2 minutes.
Right.
But the way he told it, you just didn't. It's like, what next? What's going to happen? What's going to happen now? Yeah. So, my dad was a very funny man. He was very irreverent, as I've told you. As a kid, especially a teenager, it was always embarrassing to go out with him in public because of what he might say or would say.
I feel ya.
And I didn't learn to appreciate it until I had children. I got older. It's like, I get it now. I totally get it now. But he was a great man. He truly was a great man because he had a 10th grade education. He came from a very troubled background as far as his parents. He moved in 1 year 16 times.
Wow.
And they would his parents would
Were they in the military as well?
No. His parents were poor. They would move. His mom was, So, do you ever see that movie, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, with Betty Davis and his
Years
mom?
ago, kind
His
of.
mom was kind of like that. I
Which
mean,
one? Which character?
well, yeah, like Betty Davis,
Okay.
like Baby Jane. So she always was an aspiring actress. In fact, my aunt, my dad's only sister, was named Carol, spelled Carole, like Carol Lombard, after the actress Carol Lombard. But his mom was a piece of work, but both his parents really were. They moved 16 times in 1 year because they would not pay rent, get evicted, and then they would go find an abandoned house and just move in.
Squat.
Yeah, they'd squat.
Yeah.
So my dad actually, he joined the military, joined the Air Force when he was 16. Got his mom to vouch that he was 18. And so the benefit was, he eventually went from the Air Force to the Marine Corps, and retired from the Marine Corps, but he retired when he was like 36 or 37 years old, with a military pension.
Right.
Now the military thought he was 2 years older than that.
Okay.
That whole time. But yeah. And then he went on to another career and retired from that. And so, yeah, he was a very funny man. He was a self-made person. I kid you not, there's nothing I don't think that man had not taught himself to do. He taught himself to do pretty much everything. It was amazing. So,
and this was before YouTube.
Yeah, it was before YouTube.
Couldn't just pull up a YouTube video to learn.
He built every piece of furniture in my parents' house. He
Wow.
built all of my sister's furniture.
Yeah.
He built a lot of my furniture. Grandfather clock, a roll top desk. I mean, he built a headboard for my bed. He was very talented. He was a very smart person.
It goes to show there's two types of intelligence, right? There's book smart, and then there's like common sense smart, or like intelligence smart. I don't like. There's two different.
There is,
like,
and so my
he never went to college. He didn't have a degree. I'm assuming anyway. I shouldn't
like
judge,
I said,
but
he ended up going
was
to
fucking
college,
smart.
but he had a 10th grade education. Finally, went back, got his GED, and then went to college.
Okay.
But just an associate's degree. But he still went to college.
Yeah.
I mean, he still did something.
Yeah.
So when you were growing up, do you have like that one memory that sticks out to you about your dad that just is that feel good thing about your dad, or just
one thing. Wow.
I know it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to come up, I think, when somebody puts you on the spot like that with just one thing. But
I think so. My dad was he was a hard ass with other people. Like, not with his family, but if
that was mine. Same thing.
If we were out in public, he was going to bitch that his burger wasn't perfect. Or he was going to, like, flip the person off in the car next door that maybe cut him off a little closer than he thought. Like, he was this very, I don't want to say abrupt, but he wasn't afraid to stick up for himself or anyone else and say what was on his mind.
Right.
And now, like, looking back, I feel like I got a lot of that from him.
Right.
Which, again, growing up is what made me, like, cringe in the back of the car as he was yelling out the window at someone. You know?
It's such a dad thing.
Yes, exactly. It's like, oh God, we're going to die because dad's like yelling at this guy who probably has a shotgun. It was Arizona.
And the kids
probably had a gun in the back of his car, and we're all going to die because dad's but that's like the most vivid, not most vivid, but that's my first impressions of my dad are like that, like, and again, he was never mean to us. Yeah. Never mean to the family, but always kind of would speak off. If something was wrong, he would say something. Right. Which I feel is a valuable lesson that maybe people aren't getting so much these days. Like, it's okay to bitch if your drink tastes like battery acid. Right. Or, be upset if someone cuts you off. Right. Or, we don't.
Well, it's so funny because one of our first podcasts was about bitching about.
Yeah, and he was the king of doing that. Like we loved going out to eat, but you knew Dad was going to say something about dinner.
That's so funny because my dad he was not like that. So if something was bad, he would would let them know, but he didn't do it just to do it. He didn't find fault just to find fault. But I do remember, I think it was our second or third podcast, and we were podcasting from what was Blackbird Pizza here in Portland, Oregon. And they screwed up it was after our favorite waitress was no longer there.
Right.
And I shouldn't say waitress, but she was our server. And they screwed up everything on our order, and we were just like,
dinner.
It's like, how much do we say? Because it's like they're gonna just be spitting in our food now, blowing loogies in it or something. It's like, ugh.
It's also a different time, kind of.
Yeah, it was pre-corona.
Well, God, we're living. How crazy is that? We're living through a pandemic that in 100 years kids are going to learn about in school. I know,
right? Like the Spanish flu or whatever.
Yeah, the bubonic plague.
Bubonic.
You know, that one with the boobs.
Okay, to be fair, we might be on our fourth cocktail today, but...
Crazy times.
Right? I know.
I'm going to change the name of this podcast to Crazy Times.
I feel we should really have a second podcast.
Man.
Because...
We get serious. We meant for this to be very lighthearted, happy times, but it always goes into a deep topic.
Because when it's just you and me not doing a podcast, we have a very difficult time talking about anything serious. Have you noticed that? We just don't talk about anything serious.
Is that so?
It's so, Petunia.
Is that so?
It is.
No. Buffy, stop.
You're fluffing my bloomers. So, no, when we're just speaking casually amongst ourselves, like two drunks that we are, we don't ever say anything serious. We get on our podcast and all of a sudden we feel like we have to be serious.
I think we are serious. We just don't take each other serious.
Oh, I know I don't.
Yeah, so when we're in front of people, it's more like, oh,
I know.
shit.
Do you think we feel like we have to be on our better behavior?
No.
No, I'm not.
See, I
feel like half our listeners is like, that douchebag needs to die.
Yeah, no, I've had messages going, Patrick's an asshole.
Right.
I feel like I always put the little asterisk next to my sayings with, I'm going to have to cut this out, but... That's how I get out of it.
You do that a lot, actually.
I'm aware that this is bad to say, but...
However, when I listen to the podcast after they're
produced, you can say produced. It makes me feel fancy.
Editing them and produce them. You don't cut out the things you should cut out.
I don't. No.
And I love it. I love the fact that you don't.
And that's also why I don't like editing right away. Because it's fresh.
Right.
If I wait a week, it gives me a time to think about it and go, okay, that really wasn't that bad.
Right.
Or, no, that needs to be said or whatever. Yeah.
And I think it's funny, actually. Because it's more the inappropriate things that we might say. And when I say might, I mean the inappropriate things you do say.
Last podcast was pretty raunchy.
Well, it was kind of raunchy. Yeah.
It was raunchy.
It was a little bit there.
It was raunchy.
Yeah.
I said it was not safe for work and rated it R, okay? Y'all know what you're in for if you listen to us.
Right. And if you didn't hear it, go back and listen to it.
Not a true fan.
It's
just saying.
We're going to fucking find you and
whatever. Block.
We'll assume you're a new listener.
Oh my gosh.
How is our listenership? I know we were rocking Michigan, we were rocking Alaska there for a while. And
we got Ireland.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I saw that. I did see
did
that.
You?
I did. I saw that we got Ireland. It's like, oh, good. I wonder if they can understand what we're saying.
Ooh.
Oh no, we're drunks. We're usually sepsis, so then we sound like them.
We sound like them. So you know my history with Irishmen.
Yeah,
I have.
I'm a little bit jealous of that.
I have them. And
usually...
I like to tease them to say top of the morning. They're like, we don't actually say that. Like, well, you know what? Top of the morning.
Just say it to me right now. And then top me.
Get on top of your morning. Jesus.
Dads. How about your dad? No.
Still dead.
Did you ever have a crush on somebody else's dad?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't think any of my friends had good-looking dads. Did you? You had sailors in your life.
I did. However,
or Marines, excuse me.
Both. And I will say, I don't think any of my friends had dads I found attractive. So I've always been very age prejudiced, and I will be the first. I'll be the first to admit that. So when I was, say, 18, I felt a 19-year-old was too old for me. I kid you not. So I did break that rule once, and it was my very first boyfriend who was 2 years older than me.
Okay.
But he was, I felt he was just absolutely drop dead. Excuse me. He was absolutely, someone's drinking. I thought he was absolutely drop dead gorgeous, and it didn't hurt matters that he was hung like a horse, but he just had a really good personality. He was just a very good person.
It wasn't the looks of the dick. He was a good person.
He was.
He was such a good person.
He really was.
Yeah.
And so I broke that. Self-imposed ageism rule, and went out with somebody 2 years older than me. I think that's the only time I've ever dated somebody older than me. Now, as I've gotten older, I actually am becoming more attractive to older men.
Really?
However, I caught myself this was recently.
Okay.
And when I thought I was attracted to somebody older,
yes,
he was like 15 years younger than me. So it's like,
you just think highly of yourself.
He was like 45 years old. It's like, I thought, but that seems old to me.
So I will say I'm kind of with you, as in I've always felt and acted younger. So I have always been more attracted to youngers.
Right.
But then when I find out their age, it's like a turnoff. Because women kind of aren't supposed to date younger.
And
like
I know,
30,
right?
You don't date a 25-year-old.
Right, and I don't get why not.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that weird turmoil of you're hot, I like you, but you're younger than me. So
yeah, no, Mark has been watching, and if you're just tuning in, Mark is my significant other. He likes. Hey, we're
on like episode 20. People don't know who Mark R is.
Mark R?
Mark R. There's more than one. It's Mark R. No.
Well, he likes a lot of those reality TV shows that I just have no patience for. However,
you watch that
during the Corona. We've all been in lockdown, so occasionally I'll just like zone out and want a little bit of husband time. And so if husband's watching his reality shows, I'll just sit there and probably play Words with Friends or something while I'm half listening to the show. There's two shows that he has been watching where the women are pretty financially set. And they're in their 40s, but they're dating 20-something-year-old men.
The pod one,
right? And
the one where they're all in pods.
I don't know that one. So one of them is
Love at First Sight.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I know that one.
Okay.
But one of them, I have no idea the name of either show. So one of them has to do with specifically about wealthy women, and one of them is, she's very attractive, and she's dating her daughter's friend.
Oh, Jesus.
And
there's got to be some boundaries.
But I'll tell you that at least the way he's portrayed, or he portrays himself, he seems like a good guy. You look at him, and if you just judge a book by its cover, you'd say, long hair, pot smoking guy. It's not what he's like at all. And it turns out he's adopted, and he really respects his parents' opinions, and he's he feels uncomfortable with it, and he's the one who tells her that she needs to let her daughter know because he and her daughter are good friends.
So the daughter doesn't know.
She did finally tell her. So, and then the daughter was finally became accepting after a little while. But the whole point of the conversation is that it feels to me like what is wrong with it? It seems perfectly normal to me because in another show that he watches, there's a character, a person in the show, and her husband is like 35 years older than her, and nobody thinks anything of it.
Exactly.
So
exactly. It's a double standard.
She's in her 40s and he's in his 80s.
Yeah.
So, and they've been together 30 years or something. I mean, yeah. And
which would make her in her 10s.
No, she was like 19. she was 19, stripping at some bar.
No, so. It's totally okay for men to date younger, but when women do it, it's like, ew, that's creepy.
Honestly, and I'm not kidding, I think it seems or feels more natural to me to see an older woman with a younger guy. And I think it's because if you think about why people couple, they couple not just emotionally, but primarily sexually, especially in most cases, especially at the beginning. And in
a 40-year-old woman
and women peak in their
sex drive,
about the same time that men peak.
Tell me about it. Bad time to be single with the corona, ladies.
Oh my gosh, I bet. Yeah, I bet. It's like I'm sure people are buying lots of sex toys and lube right now online. So.
Anyway, I'm glad to see how our Dad Father's Day topic went south so quick.
But all of our topics do.
It's life.
I know.
It's life. Thank you guys for being with us. I hope everyone's doing okay. Share, like, etc., etc.
And whether your father is still in your life or not, if he's with you, has
or
passed.
A father figure, because not everyone has great family.
That's true.
I recognize that.
I hope you are able to enjoy time with them this coming up weekend. And if you're all just still social distancing, then at least hopefully you get to spend some time on the phone with them.
Get those like dollar claw things and do like the fake hug.
Right?
You know those like claw grab you from the shelf things?
Yeah.
Just like,
sure.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm okay not touching people for
Me
a while.
Too.
Anyway, we'll see you next time. Oh, Jesus Christ. I almost broke your glass.